I feel like that's always been like one of my problems when it ever came to recording. I would always jump into it and I would always objectify the entire idea of recording a video and getting out all this truth or all my thoughts and all these opinions and solutions to a lot of the things that people are talking about. But it always feels like it's just done wrong, and it's done wrong because I objectify myself. I objectify my ideology and my opinions on things rather than giving you people a subjective topic or a subjective conversation. And as of right now, I'm not about to sit here and I'm not about to flash anything. All right, this is going to be a very boring video, and I want it to be a very boring video because people need to learn how to become more content in their own boredom. I feel like that's the reason why so many people just cheat, and I feel like it's the reason why so many people get away with doing the shit that they do. They're always chasing that type of excitement. And I kind of wanted to come on here. I wanted to tell you why people do the shit that they do. I don't know if I've said this before in any of my past videos, but people there's a difference between like smart people and stupid people, you know? And and honestly, it kind of traces back. I mean, I feel like it traces back to the fundamental difference between men and women. Because with women, it's about how they feel. With men, it's about how they think, you know? And with women, how they feel is, it's not something that you could use to really win any kind of argument. It's not something that you can really use to, alter somebody's perspective on something, because just because you're crying over this doesn't mean that I have to give a fuck. And I know that might seem mean, and it kind of depends on the context of what you're talking about, but at the same time, just because you're sitting there crying over shit doesn't mean that I have to sit there and abide by it. you know your tears, when has that ever really solved anything? Like, we're not children anymore. You have to become a big girl now. Quit fucking crying over shit. But most big girls now, they act hard. They act all tough. They act like they have to be bitches. And it's the worst thing ever to see our women in this like maniacal state of mind. Because all they're really worried about is the next person. They're all about chasing excitement. And the thing is, people who are more fixated on their emotions, fixated on chasing a feeling, are usually people who are attracted to psychopaths. People who are fixated on their emotions typically make horrible life choices. So let's take men, for example. If a man is more fixated on his emotions and more fixated on feeling, we usually become either sex addicts or alcoholics. The thing is about feelings is that they can become very addictive. And that's why you need to learn how to become very content within your own boredom so that you can, put up a resistance to the culture that is out here right now, because it is literally turning everybody into a bunch of fucking sex slaves who, well, maybe not a bunch of sex slaves. That's not the right word that I'm looking for, but it's turning people into a bunch of sexual deviants. I feel like that's why so many people get away with rape, because we live in a culture that constantly promotes sex this and sex that and free sex. And, that, I mean, I'm not saying that this is like the direct motivation behind a lot of the reasons why people rape, but it definitely does open a lot of gates for that shit. I had this theory about transsexuals, how if any man could walk into a store, right? Or not a store, but like to a mall, dress up as like a transsexual, fight for his pronouns, claim to be a woman when he's actually a man, and then walk into the woman's bathroom, grab like with a suitcase or some shit, like a towel of chloroform, and then steal your child by knocking them out, throwing them in that suitcase, and then taking them home, is the exact type of vulnerability that a lot of transsexuals open the gates for. They leave us far more vulnerable than they think. I don't know how we got the transsexuals from people being fixated on their emotions, but I mean, I feel like that definitely does play a role in why they make the decisions that they make. And that's why it's so stupid to listen to people who aren't really in touch with who they truly are. They're in touch with some other, vision of themselves. It's not one that's rooted in nature, it's one rooted in their own surrealism, their own imagination, their own, their own perspective. And I mean, you can respect their perspective, but there's nothing definite about their gender. They're an indefinite gender. Not to mention they only make up like 2% of you know the population. pretty much, and that's only including America. So I mean, why are we giving our attention to only 2% of the entire population when there are women and children out there who literally don't have rights, people who are being raped and sold by the fucking dozens? So why is it that we have to sit here and give all of our attention to a bunch of transsexuals, you know? They were the first fucking um they were the first distraction, you know. And then what came out after that to keep us even further distracted was P Diddy, you know, and Cat Williams. Thanks to Cat Williams, he came out and he did all that. And even though he's bringing down all of Hollywood, it's still like we're nowhere near done when it comes to the P Diddy case and how there are so many pedophiles, people who knew about this guy and then chose to not say anything about it, you know. There are so many people who were like, "Oh, there ain't nothing like a Diddy party," and the whole time this dude has children over there under the age of 16, under the age of 18, you know, just being violated and defiled in every conceivable way. I just watched this video talking about how he used horse tranquilizers that he would pour into the punch, and how that would affect so many. Obviously it affected them, but how it would knock them out for weeks on end, and how he was probably tagging that shit for at least a week. And I mean, knowing the shit that Diddy probably knows, this dude was probably having sex on the daily. You know, I feel like that's like something he was definitely doing, whether it was coerced or forced or I mean, I've heard that he was not good in like he wasn't good in actually getting women. Like he was dog shit at talking to them. So since he couldn't get with them, he would just sleep with a man. He would have them moaning. Now there's audio of Meek Mills. There's audio of all types of people. Jaguar Wright is claiming that she saw him sleeping with Diddy or sleeping with Jay-Z. My bad. And it's honestly, it's not even shocking. And that's the sad part. None of it is like, it doesn't affect me anymore because of how much that I've already seen. And I've never even seen this shit in real life. I've only seen it on YouTube, on TikTok, on, all this other shit. And I feel like if we're ever going to get justice, like well-deserved justice, we as people have to come together and actually snatch this motherfucker up and hold him in a place for a long ass time. And any fucking government official that goes against us or tries to kill us just to get to some pedophile is only doing that because he has money. I feel like I feel like I feel like, and that's something that would happen. Like we would kidnap this dude, and then people would come out and try to fucking ruin our coalition just because we wanted justice for all of the victims that this rapist defiled and traumatized, you know? And I mean, it's such a sad world that we live in. It is such a sad world. And it really takes all of us to come together to actually, work things out and actually make things right again. But we're not on that level anymore. We don't give a fuck about anything. That's what's wrong with our generation. We are so worried about we're so invested in overstimulation that nothing that we do really even matters, you know because our brains have been so stimulated since fucking the dawn of YouTube. And now it's like, well, nothing's even new. We've seen just about everything, and that's just how it seems, even though we really haven't. Truth is, we're not digging deep enough as far as imagination goes, because the imagination, in my very biased opinion, that's infinite. We need to tap back into our human nature, and that involves a lot of creativity and a lot of imagination, and actually coming out with movies that actually put forth an ideal vision that people can follow through with. You know, I did have like a couple of pitches like a long ass time ago, but this is just YouTube. I don't have people that I can talk to that can actually bring this forth. But I'm gonna start making a lot of boring videos of me just talking about my own thoughts, and hopefully one day people will see this shit and be like, huh, maybe he's on to something. But until then, this is just me expressing my opinions and my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you have any opinions. Please stop with the hate. There's already so much of that. You are not a no life. Show some love, spread some love, and be happy.